Greetings, everyone. Welcome to our new business, process automation show. This is our first session where we are going to talk about how you can automate your business processes. So this is all together a new show that we are starting. Me and my friend Sandeep, we both will be hosting this event, and like our other shows, this will be broadcasted. I think 2 times in monthly. We are planning at this point 2 times monthly, and then we'll go through how we'll see that the topic. Today, we are going to start with a basic introduction about Power Automate, because Power Automate is a very key tool that we nowadays use to automate our business processes. So, we are going to start from the basics of Power Automate today. And then going further, we will be adding more complex scenarios and more business scenarios, and we will see that how we can, automate your different business processes depending on the, what is your business type, how, you use some Microsoft applications or non-Microsoft applications or traditional classical Excel files for your day-to-day activities. So we will be talking all that different on our different sessions. So let's have a quick introduction on like what we are going to talk about today. So today we will start, as I said, we will start with the basic introduction, and then we'll see that what are the different type of automation that we can do in the Power Automate, and we will learn about main component of the Power Automate. And then we will see that while doing the automation, what are the different type of control we can use from the Power Automate. And then we will have a quick introduction about the templates. So if let's say you don't want to create your Power Automate from scratch, you may use some template that is already provided by Microsoft. So we will see what are the different type of templates that is there. And then we will have a quick intro about the error handling. So when you are building your automation and you want to just handle that error in case your automation fails, or you are getting some data error or some logic error, so how that should be handled using the error handling. So we will have a quick discussion on that, and then we will see demo for all these that we are discussing today. Okay. So before starting our main topics, main slides, let's have a quick introduction about ourselves. So myself, Mahinder, I'm principal consultant at Himbab. So I've been working with almost 16 years on the Microsoft technologies, and I'm author of different books for Dynamics 365 and Microsoft, as well as C Sharp Corner MVP as well. And I have my friend with me, Sandeep Misra. Sandeep, let's introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Sandeep Misra, Principal Consultant at STW Services. More than 14 years of experience in Microsoft technology. I'm Microsoft MVP, CSAP Corner MVP, and also I'm a speaker in multiple community events.
Okay, fantastic. So let's jump into that, our first slide. So I will go through that slides, and then Sandeep will be taking part of the demo, and he will show you demo on that. And let me introduce first all that main basics of the Power Automate. Okay.
Yes.
So Power Automate basically a cloud service by Microsoft where it helps us to automate our application, different application. We can say whether it's a Microsoft or non-Microsoft applications. We
Correct.
can combine all that application and we can automate our day-to-day tasks. Okay. And then day-to-day tasks can vary depending on what type of business you are doing, what is your job profile. Okay. So it may be totally dependent of your day-to-day activities that what you want to automate. Okay. But here we are going to talk about the generic scenarios that everybody can use, and maybe whatever your duties or whatever your job responsibilities, you can take some reference from here and automate your task and your activities. Okay. So the one most important thing I like in the Power Automate is that it allows you to connect, as I said, different applications. So if let's say we are working with some application, And let's take an example of early days, that when we are building any window application or Java application or any other programming language application, and we want to connect that application to different application, we have to write lot of code there, right? to
Correct.
to make sure that if they both can communicate or not. First we need to see the feasibility. If they can communicate, then we have to write lot of code, and that makes their communication possible between these two applications. But here in Microsoft cloud application, especially in the Power Automate, we don't need to think about that. We have most of the connectors available where we can connect with the Microsoft or non-Microsoft applications, and we can easily transfer data from back and forth between these applications.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one thing I can add here, like whenever we are working with the business applications, every business have multiple processes, correct? So what Mahinder is saying is that we were doing a lot of coding to create each and every step. So now this is using UI, we can create all that kind of flow, and we don't have to do any kind of coding. You will just drag and drop, and you will able to create your business flow, and that is what you can automate. Correct, Mahinder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we in the Microsoft terminology, we call it no code, low code, right?
Correct.
So you are
Correct.
not writing a single line of code. You are writing, simple expression that you used to write in Excel. Just like in Excel formula, we write simple expression. Those kind of expression we can write here to get the data, to extract the data, or write our logic that we want to apply to our automation. Okay.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
Power Automate allows us to different type of options here. As you can see that this is a slide, the screenshot that I have taken from the Maker Studio. So we have a Maker Studio where we can go ahead and design our Power Automate. So we will show this on the demo part. So as you
Yeah.
can see here that we have different type of options available, which we can select and we can start building that flow from the UI only. Okay. So whether if we want to take some common example, that maybe we can say that when we are getting some email into our mailbox or in our Outlook, we want to do some kind of processing on that. Maybe we want to get that data from there. We can want to create some record into our maybe in CRM, in Dataverse, or in Business Central, or in any application. We want to take a data from there, or maybe we want to create a lead record, right? So
Correct.
those kind of things we can do. If we want to do some kind of tweet we want to do, we can do that using the Power Automate. So we can capture that different tweets that is happening related to our business. Maybe customer providing some feedback on the social media, right? We can capture that feedback, and we can understand the sentiments of customer, and we can identify that, okay, what type of feedback they are providing about our product or services, right?
Yes.
So, and if you want to implement some kind of approval, let's say, for example, in your company, you have a approval process. So somebody want to apply some leave, right? So if they will submit the leave, there are some set of approval that you want to run, or maybe if you want to buy something, there is a sales process. Okay, and under the sales process, what is going to be cost of that product or service that you want to buy, but you want to implement some kind of approval from the higher authority, that okay, they want to apply that, okay, you can buy this up to this much or not. So those kind of thing can be done in the Power Automate. Okay.
Yes.
And of course we can connect with the cloud application as well as on-prem application. So we have different variations that we will see on the next slide. So we have different variation that we can implement our automation here on the Power Automate. So in a broad way, we have basically three type of category that we divide in the automation types in Power Automate. The first one is the business process flow. The business process flow is basically a way where we can see if you have implemented some automation, and if you want to see that your automation is at what stage right now. Okay. So as a given example of sales, okay, so you have some sales process, and you have some different approval, and you have different stages on your sales, and you want to see that when you are creating your sales records, at what stages right now it is. Okay, it's on the basic information gathering, or it is already gathered the information, now getting much details from the customer, or it is the approval is sent to, for the manager or higher authority for the review. So it allows you the visible way of the status, that okay, at what stage your record is right now. So most often we do this on the model driven apps. And next one is the cloud flow. So cloud flow is where we connect all the dataverse, or any Microsoft or non Microsoft applications using different connectors that is available. And we do different type of automation. For example, we do on demand, we call it instant, or we can call it on demand. We have the automated, means you have some trigger, okay, and you are saying that when this trigger will happen, I want to run my automation, I want to run some different type of steps as soon as this trigger will happen, right? And there is another one which is called scheduled automation. So for example, you are saying that okay, at particular time, maybe in the night, or maybe in the weekend, or maybe after 1 hour 2 hour, every 1 hour 2 hour, I want to run some basic steps, okay? So basic automation, so that is what we have, the scheduled one, where we can schedule on the particular time and it will trigger at that particular time, okay? Now the third one that we have is the desktop flow. So we call it RPA, robotic process automation as well. So this is basically, the cloud is where that works on the cloud application. But what about if you have something on your desktop application? On your desktop machine, you have a legacy application, or you have some website, from there you want to do some kind of automation. Maybe you want to fetch some data from your website, and you want to export the data, and you want to import into your legacy application, right? So those kind of automation can be done using the desktop flow. So it allows you to do different kind of automation, like the commonly that we call it the attended one, where you are seeing that okay, what is happening, and you are also feeding, maybe you are entering some kind of input in that. Unattended means that is running in the background. So you have one server, you set up your automation there, and you have all the logins are recorded there, and you just it will start, and automatically all the process will be completed. You don't require any kind of manual feed or manual intervention. So we don't need to interrupt anything, automatically everything can happen in the background. So that's the high level three type of automation that we can implement using Power Automate. Okay, so now we know that okay, what is the basics of Power Automate. So now let's learn about what are the main component. So whenever you are building any type of Power Automate, you need these basic three things on every automation. The first one is the connector. Okay, so as I said that how these two applications are connected to each other using the connector. So there are thousands of connectors that is available, that is published by Microsoft, as well as some other vendors that is published here. We can use, some of them are free, some of them are premium. It means that if it is a premium, you need to pay that. Okay, so you need to buy some specific type of license to use those premium connectors. Okay, and some of the connectors, so for example, if you are using a dataverse, then you can use the connector to connect to your dataverse tables. So those type of connector that we have available here on the Power Automate. And if there is some application that you are connecting with, and you don't see any connector, you can build your own connector as well. Okay, after you have built that, you can also publish it for the others, so that you can publish as a free version, or maybe you can publish it as a paid version. So that can be also done on the connectors. Okay, now the second thing here is the trigger. So this is basically is the initiation point of your automation. So when you want to run your automation, as I said that it can be automated or scheduled, right? So the trigger is basically a starting point, which is basically, you can say that switch on that automation, and it start working on running the step that you have configured, that you have created under your Power Automate. So it can be simple that these are the standard, some of the triggers that is available here, that you can see that whenever a new response is submitted to the Microsoft form. So if you have created any Microsoft form and some new response are submitted there, maybe you want to capture that and you want to work on that, get the data, right? Or any email is coming or any file is created on the OneDrive. So as soon as the file is loaded there, you want to import that file or you want to send that file, email to someone. So those kind of triggers are there, which basically help you to start your automation. Okay. So now our automation is started using trigger. Now, what about the actions? Is basically your automation started, but what it will perform, right? What task it will do, that's basically action. So under the action, we, depending on the connector that you are using, depending on the trigger you are using, you will get different type of action that is part of the trigger. So for example, this you can see here that I have taken a trigger when a row is added, modified or deleted. So this is a data verse trigger. Okay. So when we have taken this one, and under that here, now we can take further one. So you can see that when I clicked on the plus sign here under the action, it will show me that okay, these are the possible action that I want to use. Okay. So depending my scenario, maybe when some record is added, I want to read that record or create another child record, or read that record data and perform some kind of validation. I can use Microsoft Dataverse connector, or I can use other things, like for example, if I want to use some control or any I want to run any desktop flow, or I want to use AI capabilities. So depending on that, I can select my action here. Okay. So these are the different actions, and you can see here when you will click, there are different tabs here. You will see there are built-in standards one, premium, custom, and if something you have copied, that will be available on the my clipboard here. Okay. So these are the three main components that decide that what our automation will look like. Okay. Now, so we are clear on the main component here. We now know that what are the main component of Power Automation. So what about the control? So now, as we are working on our automation and we are going to use different type of action, of course sometimes we need to check some kind of conditions, or maybe we are getting some bunch of record and we want to go through them one by one. Okay, maybe depending on some scenario, we want to skip some records and want to process some other records, right? So we use controls here. So we have different type of control that you can see here. Some of them we have here, the like condition control, where we can do if else type of thing. Like we can check that okay, we can compare that okay, the record that I'm getting, or the action that is returning some data, I want to do the comparison. I can use the condition control, or if you have some kind of variable you want to check that before entering into the loop. So those kind of thing can be done on the condition control here. And then we have two looping control here, which basically allows us to go through one by one. So whether it's a array or you are querying some data from some table, and that table returns number of records, and you want to go through one by one to them. So we have these two controls here, like apply to each means you want to go one by. So in a traditional programming language, we use for loop, right? So this is similar to the for, and this is similar to the do until loop that we have here, that we have a particular condition and we are saying keep on doing that loop and running that loop until this condition is there. Okay. So when this condition will be false, it will come out of that loop. So those controls that is there for us here. Now when we are working on the automation and we are working with our data, whether the data is coming from the table, or we have some set of files that we are reading. maybe that there is some kind of error. It may be due to the data, it may be due to the logic error, it may be that type of service we are trying to access that is not accessible, or maybe it's returning the data and that data handling is not done properly in the Power Automate. So all these scenario basically create error in our automation. Now, if we won't have any kind of error handling, our automation will fail, our flow will fail, right? So it's very necessary that we have one proper error handling so that we can tackle the error. We can see that we can get more tracing on that. Okay, at what point that error happened, why this error is happening. If you want to get some context of the data, or maybe we want to notify to our admin, okay, there is some error happened to that particular Power Automate, so that they can come and look into that. We can specifically get the URL as well, the particular instance of the Power Automate. So scope control allow us to do that error handling. So we don't have a direct action of that, that we can say that okay, this is a error handling action that we can use. We have to implement this workaround using the scope control. So we implement try catch kind of block here. So under the try, we write all our logic. So in case of something wrong will happen into the try block, it will go and under in the catch block. Then we handle that error. Depending on the scenario, what you want to do, you can perform that action on the catch block. Okay. So we'll see this on the demo part. And then the other thing that we have here, just like the condition control, is the switch control. So if let's say you are working with some kind of drop down where we have multiple values, right? So you want to do the multiple value comparison, you can use the switch control. So you can have different cases, and under the cases you can do the comparison, and particular case you can do your actions depending on the case, which case will fulfill the condition, it will execute, right? So those kind of thing that is there on the switch control. So we can create multiple cases here and implement our logic. Okay. Now, the last one is the terminate control. So at some point, let's say you are working on some automation, and depending on some specific use case or some scenario, you want to terminate your automation and you don't want to go further. Maybe there is some condition you want to check. If this condition will fulfill, I want to continue. Otherwise, I want to stop or terminate this automation. So that thing can be done using the termination control. Okay. So these are the high level control that we have, and we will be using these controls more into our coming sessions, and when we will doing more and more automation on our coming sessions. Now, template. Okay. So of course, as I said that this Power Automate is a cloud service. It will provide you Maker Studio. It's a UI. You can drag and drop, but still, depending on your scenario, there are some of the generic scenario that is you need to do when you want to perform the automation, and those generic scenario is created here by Microsoft in terms of the templates. So you can select those templates, and when you will select those template, you just need to connect. There are for example, there is a Outlook connector, so you need to connect with your Outlook. It will require some credentials. When the connection is done, you will see that automation step is action are already there for you. So these are those type of templates, and we have different type of template that is available depending on the requirement. Shared with me, so you can have different type of tabs here where we can see, or depending on the different functionality, we can see the templates that is available. So if you want to create your automation from scratch, you can do that. You can add all your actions and do whatever automation tasks you want to do. But if you see that any common one, for example, like this one, okay, Outlook and OneDrive is there, or Power BI is there, or different type of that you can see Gmail and this Google Drive is there. So if you want to transfer something from Gmail to Google Drive, so if these kind of generic scenario, if you require, you can use your existing these template, and these are mostly available free of cost, and because these are Microsoft standard one. But of course there will be some kind of premium as well where you need to pay that. But you can use these and you can build your automation very easily, very quickly. Okay, so that's what we have here, templates. Now I think the last one is the error handling, as I said that. So you can see here on the screen, this is a typical example of the automation where we are running manual triggers. So this is kind of a instant or on demand one, right? So maybe if you are doing from the cloud flow, you can do that, or you can install your Power App in your mobile device, and there also you can go ahead and trigger this automation. And you can see that here we have some step, we have some variable, and then we have a try block here. All our automation steps are basically under this, and you can see here it's showing that number, that okay, there are 4 actions that is written. And if something will go wrong here, it will go ahead and it will run the catch block, and then whatever action, whatever steps that we have written under the catch, that will be executed. Okay, so that, as I said, that we have different scenario, we have different actions are there, we can use those, and we will see them on the demo on the coming session. So today we are just showing that basic introduction on that, that how we can high level implement that error handling. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to cover on the PPT. So now let's see the demo, and we will show you that Maker Studio, and Sandeep will go through on that. And over to you, Sandeep. Now you can share your screen. I'm going to
Yes, sure.
stop this.
So let me share. So is it visible?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
see. Correct.
yeah, we can go now. Yeah.
Okay. So first thing first, like to create any kind of automation, the first thing you have to do is you need to go make.powerautomate.com, and for that you have to use your business email ID. And if you don't have your business email ID, what you can do is you can go on Google and search for temp email address. So these are the temporary email addresses, that is what you will get using Google, and that is what you can use to create your temporary email address and create your account in Power Automate. Once you will create your account and log in powerautomate.com, you can see this kind of screen. So the very first thing you can see, that is home. So this is the home page and the dashboard, you can say. The After that you will see create. So from here, any kind of like whatever Mahendra already discussed, that is what you can create from here. And then we have template. Mahendra already explained all these templates. You can access all those templates from the template link. Then we have a learn, whatever the Microsoft documentation you want to learn about Power Automate, that is what you can learn from here. And all the flow, that is what you will create, you can see here, that is what listed here. So sometimes you want to change it or maintain it, that is what you can do from this screen. And then we have approval. So as Mahendra already told, in multiple business processes, we have some multi-level approval or single step approval. So whatever approval you will create, that is what you can see here, like the received, sent. So whatever approval you are receiving, the log you can see here. You already sent those kind of log, you can see here, and history you can also access from this screen. The If you want to create a new solution, that is what you can create from here. Process mining, if you want to check any Power Automate process and you want to optimize it, that is what you can do from this link. Then we have desktop flow activity. As Mahendra told, that we can also do RPA, and that is what you can create from here, and also check the status from this screen. So what we will do is that the very first thing I will show that how you can create a flow. So you can click, and then you can see we have multiple options here. The first option is automated cloud flow. So that is totally based on trigger, like whatever actions happening in your business or Microsoft ecosystem, are already you created some custom trigger. So based on that, this flow will trigger, and then the subsequent steps you have, that is what you will run in that particular flow. Then we have instant cloud flow. Like you want that something, you are creating a power app, and that is where you have a button, and you want that whenever you are clicking on that particular button, that flow should run. So that is what you can achieve using this type of automation. Then we have scheduled cloud flow. So in case like you want that in on a particular day, on a particular time, this flow should run, so you can use this. And this is totally based on AI. You can just go and describe about your automation, and AI will suggest that how you can create this kind of automation. And then we have desktop flow. Again, the RPA you can create, and that is totally based on the UI. The whatever clicks you will do, whatever steps you are doing on that particular UI, it will already record everything. And after that, whenever you will run that particular flow, it will go in that way. So these are the types you can use. And what I'm going to do is, the first I will use the automated cloud flow, and I will show that what are the triggers and control we can use. So you can see the first thing, like you can name it. For example, if I will post on Teams, so you want that whenever a form is submitted, so you can see like all the triggers. So a lot of triggers are available here, even though some from Microsoft, some you can see from third party applications. You can click on see more, and you will able to see more. If you want to create a trigger, that is what you can create and publish as well in Microsoft Power Automate. So I'm going to select this one, when a new form is submitted. Once you will click, it will take you on a page that is the canvas, and here you will able to create all those steps. As I told you that whenever you are automating a process, there will be multiple activities. So all those activities you can connect here. So we'll click, and then we'll select a form. For example, I'm going to select get birthday quotation. So that is what I'm selecting. So once you will select the form, then the next step is to get the response, because this action is all about just this is trigger, and this is all about just triggering that this particular flow. So after that, the next step will be how we can receive the response from that particular form. So what I will do is, we'll get response. So get response detail, again the same form you have to attach here. So I will get this one, get the quotation, and then the from. And these are the two shortcuts from where you can get, you don't have to do anything, you will just click here, and dynamic response you can take. And if you want to write some functions, that is what you can do from functions uh, button. So we'll click here, and we'll take the response. So now what we are doing in this particular flow is, we are just taking this uh, we are just taking response from submitted form and receiving in this particular action. And after that, if you want to post in, like as I told you that we are going to post in Microsoft Teams, so you have to take a next action. That is where we can post in Microsoft Teams. So we'll select for the Microsoft Teams controller, and we'll try to find the one by which we can post. So we can see here, see more. So post a message in Teams channel. So whenever we are selecting this kind of like the post as a flow, the boat kind of will use, and we'll use the chat with, we will select the channel, and then here we have to select the team. So I will select the demo team. So, for example, whenever we are selecting a team, we will have the multiple channel in that particular team. So that is what you have to select here, and then the message you want to post. So what I will do is I will just use the response from get response. So you can also make it like if you want to create a proper formatting. In that case, you can just type the message, for example, theme, and you will pick from here. So we'll select the theme, then the next thing, email address. So use the email address, and that is what we'll save. So what we are doing in this particular flow, we are taking the response from the submitted form, and that is what we are posting in Microsoft Teams. To test this particular flow, you can do it like either you can run that form and test it, other you can, what you can do is you can test it manually. So I will do is I will go here and I will open that particular form. I will submit this. Submit that response. Yes. So you can see like after getting the response, it is posted in Microsoft Teams. So let me go back to the Microsoft Teams and show you. So you can see this is what I'm getting, the theme and the email address. So this is how. So this is a very simple example we are taking where we are
Uh,
submitting the form and
Something.
then we are posting. Yeah.
Uh, are you sharing your team screen? We are not able to see team screen.
Okay. So let me show. Might be I'm sharing the window, still not visible. Okay. I will try to open in browser.
Yeah.
So Microsoft Teams. Is it visible right now? I think now we can see. So we'll go in Teams, and here you can see like the I posted in demo team, and here in general channel. So that is where we can see it. Correct?
Yeah, we can see it now. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the simple flow we created. What we can do is I will show like this you can create. So what I will show, when you are creating a flow, it is not just about getting the response and posting somewhere or do some activities. You also have to play with the data, like Mahendra was talking about the all those controls and the data points. So in Microsoft Power Automate, you can get this kind of the data options, that is what you can use. For example, if you want to create, you want to call a http url, that is what you can call like this. So I will show you this. I'm not going to create the action because it will take much time. So what you can do is you can create http connector, that is what you can use. So here you can give the url, you can use the method the same way we are doing encoding. That is what you can do, and once you will get the response, that is what you have to compose using whatever response you are getting. You will use the compose control to get the response. Then if you want to pass the some value from there, you will use some variables, like I have this variable, the array type, and that, and then I'm getting one value from there. So these are the data controls available. All those data controls I just want to show you quickly. So you can see, like we can call the we can use http get response, http post response, put and delete as well. uh, there are some compose methods, that is what we can use. For example, whenever you are getting a response in a format of like in any format, and that is what you can use the compose to hold the response, and then you can pass it and get the variables you want out of that object. So for example, what I'm doing here, I'm just taking a simple example of JSON data. So you can see we have the body, header, and all those like a lot of other uh, properties we have here. And then I'm creating a variable and holding this value as an object. And then I'm creating another subject, and I'm just getting subject out of this JSON body. So you can see we have subject here somewhere after header. So then we have to uh, create this kind of expressions. So in Power Automate, you have to write some kind of expressions. For example, this is the object, then we are taking the body, after that we are taking the header, then at the first index, that is again we are taking the header, the first index, and then subject. So like whenever you are getting this kind of data, and that is where you can see we have the JSON body, then we have the array. So whenever you have the array, that is where you will use the indexing to get the first or second or third, whatever the element you want to pick in that particular array. Whenever we are using the JSON, in that case you will use the question mark and the property, and that is how you will able to get the value. So you can see, like whenever we have the variable, we are directly going there. Whenever we have the array, we are using index to get the value. So this is how you will play with the data controls. Like we have these many controls. I love to show you quickly. We have switches, do until. So let me show this flow. So you can see, like we have a count, the way we are creating the program. So we create a variable, and then we check that variable like until. So we are just increasing the count one by one, and till that it match with the value entered by this trigger, till that this flow will run. So everything whatever we were doing in coding, that is what you can easily do with the Power Automate. It is not just creating the some kind of like drag and drop kind of things. You can also do some kind of the HTTP request, some kind of programming. You can play with the data as well. And also, as Mahinder told, that how we can handle the errors. So for example, whenever you are creating a simple flow, for example, I created this flow, and in case this flow is there is some error in this particular flow, what I can do is and I want to send a message when the error occur. So in that case, for example, I'm adding send email. Delete. So you can select like this, then you will go in settings, and here you can see like the when do you want this step to run. So like when by default it is successful. Whenever you are adding a control, you will find that by default in when status is successful, this flow will run. But you want to know when error, like the flow will fail. In that case, you want to run this particular control. In that case, you will select this. So what will happen, that whenever we'll get the error, only in that case this uh, activity will run. So this is how you can manage the errors. For example, you are writing a particular flow and you want that on a particular step, whenever we are getting error, we'll send message. So you can use like this. You can add the email address here. For example, and there are multiple expressions you can use to send the message. For example, right now, in like in case when you are getting error from any of these activities, you think that we'll get error here or here. So in that case, what you can do is you can write the actions and action name. So for example, action name is post message. So that is what you will write here. And you will add. So the complete information about that action will go in this particular image. So this is how you will able to track the errors. But the problem is when you are dealing with multiple steps, like whenever you just want that if error is coming on this particular activity, you can set up this kind of error tracking. But in case when we have multiple steps and we don't know that where error will come, in that case, like when we are doing programming, what we can do is we can use try catch and write complete code over there, and whenever error is coming, we'll go in a catch section. So that is what you can also do in Power Automate. What you have to do is I will just show you a flow I created. So in that case, what you will do, you will use the control scope control, like Mahendra was explaining. So here you can see like we have a manual trigger. I created two variable outside this is scope block because you can't initialize a variable under this scope block. So what we are doing is we created two variables, and then we have these many steps in this particular scope, and that is what I named it try. So whenever you will add a block, you can name it. So I named it try. So we have a compose where I have some the demo data. Then we have a compose one. We are holding that, and then we are creating an object, and then I'm trying to get the value. And if error will come, what I'm doing here is that I'm just checking all those activities, like where the error is coming. Based on that, I'm creating the HTML, and that HTML I am sending in email. So for example, here we have a demo data, and that is what we are holding here. uh, so to generate the error, I added a code here, like, so whenever we run this flow, the flow will break here, and then it will go in the cache block. So how it will go in the cache block? Again, the same thing. We'll go here in settings, and you have to uh, tick the status, like on successful or timeout or skipped or has failed. So we check that when the try block will fail, then it will this block will run. So I have a code here. By default, it will throw the error, and then it will go in this particular block and send the message. So let me test it. It's manual, so we'll just go here automatically. I will select this one, and I will test with the already tested data. I will just run it. So you can see like it's at this stage we have the error, and then the cache block is running successful. So let me show the which kind of error the message we are getting here. So you can see like action compose one failed. So this is how, even though in case you have multiple activities and you want to create a try catch kind of code, you can also do in Power Automate. So it is not just about drag and drop and UI kind of thing. You can see, like, you can play with the data, you can call HTTP request, put, post, get, and you can also create the try catch kind of things and handle errors in Power Automate. So with that, I think we came to the end of this session, and Mahinder is here. If you have any question, just ask. We are happy to answer. Right, Mahinder?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Sandeep. Yes, so we covered all the basics of the Power Automate that we
Correct.
discussed today. And as I said that now going further in our coming sessions, we will be taking a very live examples or a particular application, and we'll see how we can automate that application using the Power Automate. I think next session that we are going to do with the Microsoft Forms. So we'll see different actions, how we can utilize on the Microsoft Forms, getting the data or working with the data and applying different controls over there.
Yeah. So
So
this
stay.
part was, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, please
I
go
just
ahead.
want to add, yeah, I just want to add in that, like, this was the overview, and going further, what we'll do is we'll go in deep of each and every flow, whatever we talked today, and then we'll explain those flow in detail.
Yeah. So stay tuned with us. Thank you very much for joining us. You can watch our show on the She Sharp Corner live, and you can also watch on the YouTube. So all our session will be available there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, bye.